Hello Year 8. So you will remember last term that we were looking at surrealism, and we looked at, one of the artists we looked at was Magritte. One of the key concepts of surrealism is metamorphosis. Metamorphosis meaning to seamlessly change from one thing to another. So in this artwork by Magritte called The Companions of Fear, we can see that the leaves seamlessly change into owls. So this week we're going to be creating our own metamorphic artwork, and to do this you are going to need an A3 piece of paper. If you don't have an A3 piece of paper, just take two A4 pieces and tape them down the middle, or if you're working in your lined workbooks, see if you can find a page where they open up as two and pull that page out. And you're going to need a pencil and a rubber. So we are going to be making a metamorphic hand drawing, and it's going to fill our page, but we're going to need to leave space here for adding things on next lesson. So I actually recommend you draw around your hand for this as a starting point, although you might want to ask someone to help you if there's someone there that can do that. It's actually quite hard to draw around your own hand, because the tendency is when you get to the fingers is that you slide your pencil under the finger like that, and when you take it off you end up with a really skinny finger. So the key is you need to keep your pencil really upright when you're doing it. So I'm coming in from the bottom left hand corner, leaving plenty of space here, keeping my pencil really upright. You can do this freehand if you prefer not to draw around your hand, but as I said, there is nothing wrong with this because we're doing it to scale. Keeping my pencil really straight and upright so that I don't get a distorted drawing. And take your time with it, don't rush it. So that's my outline of my hand. That's where my ring was. Just put that in like that. Missed a little bit there. So that's a good starting point. Because this is surrealism, and you will remember with surrealism that everything is hyperreal, so it is realistic, and part of the surrealism element is that it's so realistic you look twice before you see the surreal element. So at first glance you either just see some owls or you see some plants. When you look again you realise that the two things are together and it's metamorphic. So we need to make this drawing look as realistic as possible. So to do that I need to look for all the details. I need to look at where the knuckles are. We've got extra skin here to allow our fingers to bend. I need to look at the detail on the nails, how the nails are set into the finger. I need to look at the angles. When I'm drawing these, notice that these fingers are upright, the nails are looking straight down, but when I get to the thumb, it's sideways, it's at an angle. Also, I can see some of the structure of the hand here, the muscle that again allows the fingers to move and control, the ligaments coming through here, and I want to be able to draw as much in as I can of detail on there. So place your hand next to your drawing so that you can see what you're looking at really carefully, and start placing in where you think those knuckles are. So here, following my hand up, this is the first knuckle here, then the second knuckle of the thumb is here, and I'm going to start putting in those creases. But I'm not going to make it up. I'm going to put in exactly what I can see, and that's the importance with surrealism. It is observed reality, and then it has a surreal twist on it, so there's additions after that. So starting to put in those knuckle details, and then looking at this thumbnail, so it's at an angle because it's on the side, so I'm seeing a side view, and it's sitting into the thumb like that. And then looking at this section here where the creases of the hand, the skin which again allow the movement in that hand. So without that extra skin you wouldn't be able to move your hands or your fingers. Putting those in and then working my way up. So looking at where this knuckle forms, so it's going to be about here. And I'm just going to keep working on this, adding in all these details. Because you're drawing your own hand, it will look different to my hand. I've got very long fingers, quite skinny hands. You might have shorter fingers, you might have bigger palms. I want to see your hand, not a copy of my hand. So I'm using a 4B pencil here. I've gone a bit softer so that hopefully you can see it a bit better. I know when I tend to use a 2B pencil it doesn't show up very well for this, but you can use your normal HB school pencil, will be fine. But keep it nice and sharp so that when you're adding in these knuckle creases you're getting those nice sharp lines. You might need to go back and keep sharpening your pencil. You could use a mechanical pencil for this. I know some of you quite like using those. You might need to swap to a normal pencil when we start to do shading, but a mechanical pencil certainly for these details lines would work really well. So what I'm looking at for by the end of this lesson is a completed, accurate line drawing of your hand, including all the details on the knuckles, the creases in the skin, and the details on the fingernails. I'm just going to start working on putting in a bit more information on here, so they start to look a bit more 3D as well. There are some creases on these knuckles. Well, so I suppose these are knuckles, these are joints, if you like. And I can put in just the suggestion of the ligaments here. I can see them on my hand, but obviously my hands are quite thin, that's why I can see them. You might not be able to see those on your hand, but just draw what you can see. Okay, so a line drawing of a hand, including knuckles, joints and fingernails, drawn from observation, which we will develop this drawing next lesson.